Okay, here, let's go one of these.
All right, before you hit play on that, I'm just going to explain a little
set
bit
her up.
of
Yeah.
what's going on. There was a blip on radar for like weather radar. That was like the size of Texas, I believe, and it was completely round. It looks almost like the Hadron Particle Collider.
No.
Yeah, and they're saying that nobody really knows what it is, but they're saying the possibility, what the theories they're thinking it might be. Either it could be a mothership, or it could be. It looks exactly. Apparently, it looks exactly like the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar, or it looks like, if you were looking at it, like the Hadron Particle Collider. So it could be a mix of all kinds. Who knows? But let's check this video out.
320, you said?
Yeah, 320.
Okay.
Let's check this video out. And,
that was wild.
Hey, it's Glampound. So more than a few people have been asking me to look into the radar anomaly. I posted just about an hour ago, and I already need to give an update because you won't believe what I found when I dug deeper onto what causes these strange geometric shapes. Normally I can reverse look up images and I can get an answer very simply. This is an unusual one because when you reverse search this image, all you get are repeats and echoes of the post. What is this strange radar anomaly in Mexico? I had found 2 different posts from meteorologists saying they were radar tests. So given that they're meteorologists and I'm not, I thought that must be it. But I dug deep.
Wait. Is that a weather pattern?
yeah,
like a radar?
That's the weather radar pattern. That's what came up on the screen.
Can you imagine going to weather.com and just...
It's like geometrically perfect.
It's pretty cool.
Specifically for these strange geometric shapes.
What does that say? Guantanamo? Guanala?
It's in Mexico.
Okay.
This thing was like
Mexico City.
That are
Okay.
very, very specific.
like the size of Texas, and it
All
rotated. See
fingers
that?
point to magnetic flux. Now, trust me, this is definitely beyond my scope of just being a lowly ham radio operator. And
Is that how I recognize her? She's got a ham radio thing. She looked very familiar. Have you ever seen any of her shit before?
I haven't. I don't know who that is.
I've never seen her.
Her British accent gives her credibility in my mind. I believe her more because she sounds like she knows what she's talking about.
I'm somebody with an obsession with
mate.
frequencies ever since I had a super sci-fi near-death experience in 2012. I started to search for the images most similar to the radar anomaly, and I wound up at something called ATLAS, the ATLAS experiment at CERN with the Large Hadron Collider. Trust me, I don't know where this is going either, but it is literally the only thing that I could find that ties into the strange patterning. Having said that, I did find, apparently, and I have no way to verify this, at one of the sightings in Mexico, people posted pictures of clouds like this. They say this radar anomaly works out to be about 300 kilometers wide. So here's the thing, for one of these, Mexico's power department in that area said they had a power situation a power irregularity. What could cause a power irregularity that might also be generating an image like this in radar and ties into magnetic flux? Many people believe it was a UFO. Frankly, I'm not going to say it wasn't. I saw Nope, where UFOs hide in clouds. If I was trying to hide my personal UFO, I would fly in a cloud or make a handy little cloud to disguise me. On the plus side, I don't think we have anything to be afraid of whatever the UFO thing is.
How big are clouds? Like, how wide are clouds? They're big.
Yeah.
like hundreds of miles sometimes. I never even thought about that.
I mean, they can be. I've seen them. I mean, flying them above them.
Like I'm just
You've
picturing
seen
like the
everything
Doppler
from
radar.
huge ones to little ripple one. I forget the
But it's like
different names of them. But
it's hard to get the frame of reference. Like, you know, you see it and it takes up the sky, but is it like 10 miles up and then like it looks smaller, but it's huge?
Yeah.
Hiding shit in clouds. Like, because if you fly in a plane through a cloud, it's like even when you're in there, you can't see shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, think about this. Like, the cruising altitude of a plane is what, around 30,000, 35,000 feet? And that's usually when you're just above the cloud line.
Right.
You can see it, you can see the sun, whatever. So, how many, like, how many, like, what's the distance in a mile?
There's a lot of clouds.
Like, how many feet?
Around the earth right now. 15 minutes ago, I didn't realize that was fair game for UFOs. Like, I love that so much. I can't tell you enough. Is there anything that we could use to see through the clouds? You know what I'm saying? Like how infrared cameras can see at night without, you know, you can see a clear picture at night. Could we point something at a cloud and just have it see like solid object? Well, a cloud is kind of solid though, isn't it?
Well,
You
could.
can take infrared cameras and point them at the sky. They actually do that as UFO hunters at night. They'll use that when they videotape the entire sky, and they'll see things that with the naked eye you won't normally, but they'll see ships cruising around that are transparent, but the infrared catches them.
Honestly, I was just gonna say the same thing. If you're like facing a cloud with the infrared, you're gonna see heat fluctuation differences. Yes, one is the cloud itself and the humidation, and you know, it's not like a perfect temperature throughout. However, you see a solid object like that moving erratically or even moving intelligently, it's a big difference.
It's, well, you know, they say the ocean is a good place to hide because we haven't even explored it ourselves.
Oh, I believe they got.
UAPs.
Yeah,
Now the
that's-
clouds, dude,
they're not even
how
from
did I not
space.
think of that?
But one more thing, real quick. Back to the talking about radar. That's been kind of quite a hot topic lately because about a month or so ago, they had a blip on the radar that was completely black. It started small and then took up like an entire section of the ocean and then came up across 2 continents and then disappeared again. Now, I saw something last night about a theory of it possibly being there's this biblical creature that it's like a big serpent, like it's this like,
What's it called? Do you know the
I
name?
forget the name of it, but there's been weird anomalies with sea life happening ever since that blip with whales all beaching themselves like everywhere.
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
That's right.
There's like these crazy sharks with, you know, like the sawtooth sharks.
Yes.
They've been coming up to like, dude, everything. It's
And like
explain
in
it as if
mass
almost-
too.
Yeah,
Like,
they explain it
there's
as if
schools of
almost they're scared of something.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys know about that biblical creature I'm talking about. It's a huge.
Talking about Leviathan.
That
Leviathan. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Leviathan. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I can't wait to
Crazy
see
time we
the
live in.
comments. Take care.
And also, they also said, like I said in another video of that thing, because there's so many people talking about right now that because it was over Mexico, and it makes sense because that's where the Mayans were from. It actually looks exactly like the Mayan calendar.
Oh man.
It does actually. I went.
Like they pictured it, like put the Mayan calendar on top of it, and it's the exact fit.
I witnessed it in person, man. I went down there when I was like 10 years old. Explored like Chichen Itza, Tulum, some of the other ruins,
man, I wanna
and
go down there.
actually seeing these stone carvings. their different gods. Even the arenas, which were like a cross between soccer and basketball.
Is that
where
the
they
one
played
with the
to
sideways
death.
hoop that they had to get the ball through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
it
if
was just
they
a big
lost.
rubber ball.
No,
So
wait, how
cool.
did that work? The team that won. No. It had to have been the team that
that
lost died,
Right,
right?
so got
They were a
sacrificed.
sacrifice.
It'd be a
to
shitty
the
game
sun
if the
god.
team that won died, then nobody would be playing.
He got a flawless record. Just nothing but KOs.
Oh man, it was wild to like see it, touch it, be firsthand,
man.
and how intricate not only their calendar was, but the vast knowledge they had of astronomy and how, all the
Their calendar was
constellations.
supposed to end, remember that, in 2012? And
Right.
supposedly the world did end, and we got slammed into a different dimension. I mean, that's why everything's all weird now.
Shit's been getting crazier and crazier since 2012. Yeah.
Actually, this is a good segue because the link I just sent you through text, it talks a little bit about, well, when me and Tony talk about aliens, you know, he's full on board aliens, extraterrestrials, which I totally respect. I can't discount that. But I'm more on the side of interdimensional beings, not extraterrestrials. And that almost looks like
I'm on board with that.
geometrical portal in a sense where
Right.
interdimensional beings, because think about it, like we can perceive, interact, and live within a 1-2 dimensional space and have full understanding and comprehension of that. We live in a 3-dimensional space which we can't fully comprehend. Now, if we lived in the 4th dimension, we can master this 3rd dimension, so on, so on, so on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I like
And,
that. I like that a lot.
When I see some of this stuff and I actually look at, you know, how would they travel here from another galaxy that far? You know, the physics of it just don't seem to line up for me. And with also that being said, when you travel, let's say even close to the speed of light, you're actually, because of the way time works, you're actually jumping into the future.
Right.
So like if you were to fly, let's say to Mars at the speed of light, return back to Earth, it's going to be years later here.
But it's all about from the context of you.
Yeah.
Years later for us, minutes for, you know, 'cause
Yeah.
the closer you get to the speed of
my
light,
brain.
you're
The perception, it's a perception of each, yeah.
It's,
I love
it's
this
length
stuff.
contraction and time dilation. It's the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time goes for you.
Yeah, the clip I sent you kind of delves into the idea of interdimensional, aka aliens, actually being like biblical demons, fallen angels. And when you kind of look at it from that perspective, it starts making a lot more sense. And it lines up with how were they able to do some of these miraculous things. Some people attribute like the pyramids to alien technology, or these, you know, perfectly fit stones that
That's all
weighed, you know,
frequency, baby.
60,000 tons or whatever the heck it is. And it's like, well, angels would be able to do that, or fallen angels would be knowledgeable enough to know how to do that. And I find it a very interesting theory when it comes to like aliens, especially in the Bible, when it talks about how the aliens started sleeping with the human women, creating the Nephilim, aka giants. But they God got mad and he smited the fallen angels, and he made them ugly, grotesque, and repulsive. And when we think about aliens, I mean, we think about the Greys, we think about these mantis people, you know, whatever the case may be. And I don't think any of us would look at those as beautiful beings, as we know angels are supposed to be not only beautiful, powerful, but like perfect as far as our image, just bigger and stronger. So it's kind of a cool concept if you really think about it.
Biblically accurate angels, have you seen those? The 3D animations of them, those are wild. Those
They're
are
huge.
huge, covered in eyeballs,
Yep.
wings, crazy voice.
Yeah, we can't even comprehend their
No.
language.
No.
And we're talking like an angel compared to like us would be like the size of a 2-story building. Like they're like 20, 30 feet tall.
Yeah, I like the gosh, what is it? It's not Dogma. That was a good movie though, where God is Alanis Morissette. Little Nicky, I think. Little
I love
Nicky.
that movie.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Wait, yeah, that was with Alanis Morissette. Never mind. There's one that talks about if we were to hear God talk, we would explode or something like that.
Yeah.
Our ears aren't.
Do you ever watch that show Supernatural?
Oh yeah,
With the two brothers, they kind of delve into the angel biblical stuff, and when the angels come through, like their ears start bleeding, and if they see them, their eyes melt, and like.
Is that the same one where like they had the person that was magnetized and could stick metal to him or something? Supernatural. Wait, is that one where they investigate like supernatural?
No,
people?
there was a show like that though.
Okay.
Which I forgot who the famous guy was that would go out and
William
do that.
Shatner.
It might. No,
That's
it
a
was
different one. That's
Somebody
unexplained.
funnier. It was like a skeptic, and he was like. But anyway, Supernatural was a ongoing series of basically two brothers that hunted like cryptids, monsters, ghosts, whatever. It's like a family business type thing, and it was actually kind of a cool show. It was like 15 seasons long, and one of the longest running shows like ever. And they do basically fall into that whole angel demon thing, and the bloodlines supposedly trace back to Cain and Abel through their family, blah blah blah. That doesn't have much to do with it, but anytime an angel's like presented themselves and talked in their native language, ears would bleed, people would like in agony, and if somebody saw their true form, not like them presenting as a human, eyeballs would melt. Like
They just start coming.
It was kind of crazy because like, yeah, they're just like, oh my god.
So
I
is this the
truly
correct
went
video
blind.
that you sent? Is this the one that you sent?
Yeah, this is crazy. Check out what this guy says.
Okay, who is this guy?
I think he's on Joe Rogan.
Just some guy?
They're
I
not
don't know his
from outer
name.
space, and that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research. So go to Sabrel.com and
So where do they
it's
think
up
they're
there in
from?
time.
They're not from outer space.
They're interdimensional and potentially fallen angel, disguising themselves because they're liars of something, like you said, can't be proven or disproven. I'm from this galaxy 300 light years away.
This is kind of what Tucker Carlson did.
Oh shit, no.
He thinks there's a spiritual.
Is the guy saying that he's from a galaxy 300 light years away?
No, he was talking about how the head top people from the 2 most like credible UFO analysts and government agencies that admit UFOs are real are saying that they think it's not extraterrestrials, that it could be actually fallen angels, aka demons.
Okay.
If you want to rewind it 10 seconds and
element to it. He thinks they've always been here, and he thinks that this is what's kind of documented.
Tucker Carlson, I don't know if you watched that, Joe Rogan, he is in the same boat, talking about the same stuff, where it's not necessarily UFOs and aliens, it's like a more spiritual, religious sort of being.
yeah, man.
I mean,
It's
the Bible
deception.
like
Carlson.
Oh shit.
I love that guy.
good and evil.
That's it, exactly.
Out there.
That's what's going on. I mean, the top 2 UFO researchers said UFOs are real, number 1. Number 2, they're not from outer space. And number 3, they're demonic. And that's what I talk about. Where it talks about fallen angels interbreeding with humans, it's talked about in
That's a crazy concept.
We were just talking about
Genesis 6, and creating a race called Nephilim, who were men of renown, world.
And that's talked about in the Bible?
Yeah.
Book of Enoch and the
Isn't that-
Bible.
that's the
but
hidden
yes.
book or whatever? It's not in
Dead
James,
Sea
St.
Scrolls.
James? Dead Sea
Yeah.
Scrolls.
One of the
Okay.
books
So
that
like
they
it's
took out.
it's in the Bible. Don't get me wrong, because he just quoted in what was it, Genesis 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I heard Cat Williams mention the Book of Enoch on the interview.
Honestly, if you get a chance, It'll blow your mind, and it connects all the missing dots together, dude.
So it's not in the King James Bible.
No.
Okay.
No, it was just found in a cave by some kids in
That's some scrolls.
Like Chicago or something?
No, it was like was it Turkey or
Okay. Dude, they got all the best shit over there.
Yeah, right. But anyway, these guys found these scrolls, which ended up being multiple books, and they call them the Book of Enoch, and it literally ties in everything else that's in the Bible, and really makes the sense of the parts where you're like kind of have those gaps.
Sure.
It ties it together. It's insane.
Is this one of those scrolls that's like just like thousands of years old that they found?
They carbon dated it.
Okay.
They tested the paper, the ink that was used at that time. It was all during the time when these original books of the Bible were written, and these things were in clay jars. So the kids were in this cave playing around. They threw a rock or whatever, cracked one of these ceramic jars. They had no idea. Come to find out, they got these scroll, found more. Boom.
Nice.
Crazy knowledge just came out of it.
Fuck.
Talking about the giants and everything.
I'm not left-handed.
UFOs are real and aliens are real, but they're not from outer space. And that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research.
So yeah, I am. Let's see. Not. Let's see. What was I gonna say? It's really interesting to see what comes out with the Dead Sea Scroll stuff, or just anything like that, because it's just like it's like written. I don't know. You know, I'm not like a. I'll be honest. Like, I don't subscribe to any religion. I'm willing to hear them out and read the Bible even, and you just learn more about it. But the one thing that I'm certain of is, like, the Bible was written by people, like, you know, the apostles or whatever.
Prophets, apostles.
Yep. Whether you buy into religion or subscribe to it or not, I truly believe that people back in the time that it was written saw some shit. Like, some shit happened, and it was just written from the perspective of some people that were, like, kind of freaking out. I don't know.
Dude,
I'm of the Christian faith normally, but the more and more recently, I'm not saying that I'm budging into a different direction or anything like that, but
are you gonna be Hindu?
What I find really interesting, actually, a buddy I've been talking to is Hindu. He's been teaching me about Shiva, and every day I should meditate for 15 minutes, and he said everything will come together after. I don't know, but I'm looking into that. I mean, I'm open to things. I mean, I want to know and gain as much knowledge as possible to make my own decision on. As far as, I guess I'm just trying to find a place to be.
No women, no cry.
Like I said, I'm of the Christian faith, but the more, like, in the last couple months that I've been kind of diving into more things, like more like what was before all of that, right? Like, how did what the Bible wasn't around all the time. That, what, we're talking 2,000 years or something ago, or something?
Approximately.
10,000.
Something like that, right?
Well, so a lot of it got wiped out in the Younger Dryas Impact.
Sumerian tablets, and then you go further back, the Anunnaki, and
that's just the records that we have, the ones that we can find. Eventually, like, stone tablets will fucking fall apart and turn to dust. So it's like, how far back does it go? If you know Graham, what's his name? There's a guy named Graham he's the old man. He's got, like, the ancient thing where he believes, like, a meteor impact wiped out all of civilization 14,000 years ago. I think it's called the Younger Dryas Impact. And there's evidence of a flood that happened, which explains
the mud flood.
It's the common theme between any religion across the world on any continent except Antarctica, I think. But yeah, Africa, Asia, America, you know, Christianity. I'm moving to Christianity.
Put some respect on my religion.
They all have tales of a flood. It's the common thread. Yeah.
the flood.
Flood happened.
This spiders and just something. How did the flood? What, a bunch of ice caps melted and then it all flooded?
No.
The firmament opened up, man. That's what I'm looking at. Right? Isn't that it?
I mean, I think we just kind of been looping the same video. To be honest with you. But what I was gonna kind of chime in on is, I'm definitely 100% Christian in faith, and when it comes down to this stuff, I mean, the reason why Christianity is the way that I've leaned towards, and it's not saying that I'm not open to hearing other information or even accepting maybe some evidence leaning other places, but why I lean towards a Christian Bible is that this is what's included in, just like, let's say, King James Version. This is not only 60 plus books of different encounters of different people that they were inspired by God to write this down, documented, or if you want to say ordered, to document these events and write this and put this all into place. But then when you combine these 60 different individuals, and not all of these people even knew one another or lived in the same time.
Right.
They all correlate each other's story.
Right.
Then, 60 years ago or 50 years ago, we find the Dead Sea Scrolls in the book, which we call the Book of Enoch. And it then again ties together all these 60 plus books that make up the Christian Bible.
Right.
And I think personally, from a religious standpoint, like, that's a huge, astonishing thing, because no other religion has all these different accounts of different books coming together and supporting one another.
Right.
They got one book.
Right. I find it interesting.
What I mean?
Like I said, they might not be as vast and as deep as a 60 book Bible plus scrolls and stuff, but the idea of the flood, however it happened, say about 14,000 years ago, a meteor hits, water is displaced.
Oh yeah.
And there are I don't want to search for it, but I'll bring it up next time. There are, how if you're on the beach and you're looking down at the sand and like the tide comes in and then it washes away, there's little rivers and channels and stuff. It's just, like a little inch or two, but it makes a distinct sort of like stream pattern. Like, you just know the water washed up and washed back. It's just like, it's not a big deal. 100%. It's just how the beach works.
Grand Canyon.
If you look at the aerial shots of places all over the world, specifically in North America, I think, this is all over the place. You can find evidence of this that supports that there was a flood where waters were at least 100 to 500 feet, like rushing, like waves and stuff. Anyways, They left marks similar to you see on the beach, but just in massive scales, like the Grand Canyon and shit. Like there's like washback marks that you can only get when a lot of water washes away, but they're like miles long, and you only get that if there's. Imagine a wave coming at you that's 500 feet tall, like that. I've been in. If you're on a boat, 6 feet waves is big. All right, like.
I'm of the opinion of this. I feel like there's been multiple floods.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's one very likely scenario. I also, being a Christian, believe in, the book of Noah. It rained for 40 days, 40 nights, whatever. And, but we see the evidence that you're talking about all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen things about like old Tartaria and stuff like that.
Right.
And like these underground
Is that the Atlantis?
layers.
It's kind of like Atlantis, but.
Yeah, the Eye of Sahara.
Okay.
Google that, the Eye of the Sahara.
Let's see.
It's like where they feel Atlantis was before the one mud flood.
On the subject of the Bible, with every other, they all got their own Bibles, like the Quran, and I don't know, what do they call the one for the the Jewish people, what's their book?
The Torah.
What you are looking at is
The Torah, the Bible, the Quran, whatever the Buddhist people use. I'm not sure, but
Nah, they don't use a book.
all
Yeah, I
those
was gonna say,
stories-
I don't think they use a book.
All their stories and all their teachings and meanings, they all kind of like tell the same story and intertwine with each other some way, somehow, don't they?
I'm gonna be a bad Christian right now and say a lot of this leads back into pagan lore.
Yeah, well,
You know,
yeah.
You're going to hell.
but I don't believe any of that stuff.
You're going to hell.
But check this out. So like,
Shame on you.
this is in the desert of
I have the
Africa.
Sahara.
a massive circular feature
Also
within
underwater.
Mauritania. It is a truly beautiful geologic oddity largely only visible from satellite. Known as the Eye of the Sahara, it is a spectacular 45-kilometer or 28-mile wide feature which contrasts with the overall coloration of the surrounding sandy desert landscape. We didn't know that this massive feature even existed until we sent humans into space, where they specifically searched for massive circular structures on the planet in the hope of finding previously undiscovered impact craters. However, this massive feature is not an impact crater. Although this geologic oddity does contain numerous concentric rings, it has a different origin which is partially related to magma. This video will discuss the spectacular feature and describe how it
Here, pauses
formed.
for 1 second.
The eye
So, reason why I brought this up is because we know the Sahara is drier than. I mean, there's jokes about drier than the Sahara, you know. But like, let's say if we were looking at this on Google Map or whatever, you can actually see like the pipeline from the ocean that kind of ran up into this, and then you see the multiple rings. Now, if you heard about the theory of Atlantis, you know that Atlantis was built with like I think it was 2 or 3 outer rings and then the center city. What was it? Plato wrote about this, seeing it. I think it was Plato. Wrote about being there, seeing it. It was this highly technologically advanced place, whatever. All of a sudden, I mean, think about when you're looking at this, and then a flood comes through, wipes out this advanced civilization, and leaves just the platforms on which it was built.
Right,
That's
right.
kind of, to me, it's like if there was ever evidence of this, that's one of the best ones.
And this is in the Eye of the Sahara.
Eye of the Sahara can be found in west-central Mauritania in Africa, where it is not too far from the border with Western Sahara. Specifically, it is 190 kilometers east-northeast of the city of Atar. The Eye of the Sahara began forming 201 million years ago when the supercontinent Pangaea, which comprised most of modern-day Africa, North and South America, and Europe, began to break apart. This slow breakup began due in part to a massive mantle plume of material which was around 20% hotter in the mantle than surrounding rock. As it intruded into the crust, numerous flood basalt eruptions occurred over a vast area, creating large outpourings of lava on the order of hundreds to thousands of cubic kilometers of rock in each eruption across an area ranging from Newfoundland to Spain to Brazil to Mauritania and beyond. In Mauritania, 2 such intrusions would occur which would fail to reach the surface, expanding out horizontally to form 2-layered sills which contain volumes of 12.4 and 5.3 cubic kilometers of magma respectively. This surprisingly did not notably uplift the overlying rock, instead largely replacing pre-existing rock units. By 115 million years ago, while North America had long ago separated from what was originally Pangaea, West Africa and parts of Central Africa remained connected to Eastern South America. Then, finally, these 2 continents began to spread apart, occurring alongside the formation of a major rifting event in Western Africa that would go on to form the Cameroon Line. As the crust rifted apart over the next 14 million years, large faults and weak points in the crust that trended to the north-northeast or simply northeast formed, allowing for hot mantle material to intrude into the crust at these weak spots. These rift settings soon were the site of abundant phonolite or high alkali magmatic intrusions. One such intrusion occurred underneath what would eventually become the Eye of the Sahara 101 million years ago. As this large body of magma built up in the deep crust, a threshold was eventually reached, causing a large portion of the phonolite magma's carbon dioxide and alkali elements to separate and form a separate magma type known as carbonatite. Approximately 50 cubic kilometers of carbonatite magma then rose upwards towards the surface. Reaching shallow depths of about 1 kilometer, this massive body of molten rock pushed upwards 1,800 square kilometers of rock by as much as 305 meters or 1,001 feet to form a structure known as a dome anticline. A series of kimberlite magmas intrude into the vicinity over the next 1 million years as the carbonatite magma cooled, emplacing a cluster of small dikes. Across the next 100 million years, the uplifted rock was eroded at a higher rate than its lower elevation counterparts, leading to numerous layers of sedimentary and igneous rocks being exposed in the magnificent Eye of the Sahara. An interesting quirk of the Eye of the Sahara
water patterns that actually lead up to this ring surface.
Right.
So I agree with the whole Pangea thing and everything. You know, I mean, it's obvious when you look, everything fits together. And that probably could have been one of the first floods with meteor hitting, knocking things apart, loosening, bedrock and floating off. But the coolest thing is when I actually first saw this and looked into it and seeing like from the west coast of Africa, how there was clearly a waterway that came all the way into that, and how it just seems to line up with the whole Lands thing.
Right. That's the one thing that I was thinking is this might be in the Sahara, but I mean, I don't know timelines. 50, 100 million years ago, the Sahara might have been like on the coast or wherever this is,
Honestly, it was very green and jungle-like at one time. I've seen historical proof of that and things they found, which is crazy because it's all sand now.
Right.
But they found fossils of certain leaves and things like that for what would be palm trees and oases and things that it was. I mean, just below the Sahara is what the Congo or whatever, where some of the craziest wildlife still exists.
Right.
That once went way further north in Africa, and just kind of I'm kind of taking an offshoot here, but there was a time too when what would it be, from the top of Canada over to the Nordic countries in
the Bering
Asia.
Strait.
There was the North Atlantic Strait. It was all connected. I mean, to me that's wild.
Right. That was a land bridge, I think.
Yeah, it was a land bridge. So people are Christopher Columbus didn't really discover America, and there's proof of Chinese and Japanese people being over there before then, Russians, of course, Vikings, and because they found Celtic stuff and armor and tools that were unknown or even unheard of in North America at that time.
Right.
And I'm the North Atlantic Strait, the North Atlantic land bridge existed. They didn't even have to sail it. They could have just traversed it.
Right.
And that stuff blows my mind, man, because we weren't ever really taught about that. No teachers are hey, once upon a time, blah, blah, blah. It's just taken the world was Pangea, now it looks like this, and all these gaps are just left unfilled.
Right.
And then when we look into history on our own, we start realizing, dang, man, there was a whole lot of crazy stuff that transpired through these quote-unquote millions of years. As a Christian, we lean it's 10 or 12,000 years old. That's debatable. I think carbon dating, personally, it's I believe that you can estimate things with it, but as science states, it has to be observable, and none of us have been around to observe something and carbon date that for millions and millions of years. We don't know the environmental changes, temporal changes, things like that. So yeah, I think it's a good science, but we know it's not 100% accurate. We know that there's flaws in that theory in itself. At least personally, I believe that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
They got those, what do they call it? The body farms where they'll bury bodies and see at what rates do they decompose. And that's, it's a controlled environment, but it's in one location, man. We don't know if there was multiple ice ages. We don't know if there was
there had to have been
heat speak. We don't know what those types of environmental changes over what time period of change will affect what we find. So carbonating to me is like, it's a difficult one because it's like, in one hand I'm like,
radiocarbon dating.
But then on the other hand, I'm like, well, we've never been able to truly observe that science when we're kicking it back to like dinosaurs and things like that. It's like, well, it's a guesstimate of, they probably lived around this time, All
right. Yes. Well,
so, Benny, this is
let me set this up. I saw this morning, and it was a great way to start my day. I apparently this has been around since 2007. I'm just finding it out now, almost 20 years later. So, if you haven't seen it, I was completely unaware. Let's check it out.
Rainbow aerosols.
Thursday, July 6th, 2007, about 4:30 p.m.
You've seen that before, right? I've seen that before.
I'm just wondering what the heck is in our water supply? What the heck is in our oxygen supply?
Fluoride?
This lady missed that day at school.
Halogen salts that create a rainbow effect in a sprinkler. What is oozing out of our ground that allows this type of effect to happen?
You can
Not
just
just
hear
around
the
our
contention
sun
in
and
her
our
voice.
moon
She's just
anymore.
mad.
Everywhere we
mad.
look, the visible spectrum is rainbows. This cannot be natural. We all know it wasn't something that happened 20 years ago.
She didn't see rainbows
But
20
now
years
it's
ago.
happening
She
now.
is pissed.
It's like my childhood was just
We
a
as a
lie.
nation have got to ask ourselves, what the hell is going on?
Oh, man.
And then she does the side
What
shot.
is oozing out of our ground?
I don't know, lady.
And then it was a perfect time for a siren to kick in, too. We gotta get her. We gotta get her.
And then the side shot in case you didn't catch it. Well, what are we gonna do about this, guys?
I don't know. I think
I've
one
seen
thing
them
for
too.
sure is that we need to link
Stop
her up
breathing.
with the double rainbow guy.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What is that?
Whoa. What does it mean? I heard about this from somebody else, and then or on a podcast, and then I looked it up. It was like an 80-year-old guy mentioned this on a podcast, and then I found it. I was like, oh, fantastic.
Wait, so let me get this straight.
Rainbows are coming for us. We're in trouble,
man.
guys.
It's probably the number one threat to humanity at this point.
I mean, I'm scared.
I mean, I don't know. You guys got your rainbow apocalypse kit set up? Or you
Well, I think
stacking ammo?
I
Ready
think
to-
this was like almost a prophecy of what was going to happen around
Rainbows.
the 2010s.
Kill us with Care
It was-
Bears.
You're going to be seeing rainbows this close to the ground everywhere.
She was so pissed off. What is in our water? What is going
Yeah, it's
on?
like, well, let's think about it. Did they ever tell you about light refraction?
Water's in our water.
It's the fluoride. It has to be.
Fluoride. That's a whole episode right
Yeah,
there.
right?
Pineal gland, right? Isn't that the thing? But here, the other
Blocking
thing that
our
I have.
chakra.
This is kind of getting into
Calcifying your
simulation
pituitary
territory.
gland.
No, you can't
Or your
open our
pineal
third eye
gland.
with all
That's
that
what it is.
fluoride floating around.
Yep, it calcifies the shit, and yeah.
Pineal gland's the third eye, man.
That's what they say. That's where all the good juice comes from.
That's why I do my best work at night, man.
Right, just like what you said, Chambers. By the time we get done with this, well into this podcast, one of us will be floating.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be walking through
levitating because
walls
we're
one
gonna
day.
get so
you just
deep
watch.
into it. We're gonna open some shit up.
Okay, so this is an old one. You've probably seen this. You
Yeah,
might
this
have.
is a AI generated video.
This is just
Right.
This is called the Unreal Engine 5. This video came out last year. It's still impressive, but Unreal Engine 5 is just when you make a video game, like a new modern video game, you don't just make it from scratch. You usually use some sort of an engine, which is just, it gives you all the tools you need to build the graphics and make it look cool and have effects and shit. So you basically build your world in Unreal Engine. This is a demo that shows it. So at first you're like, this is just a car burning, and but then it's manipulate. They're just taking in their program and like they're showing that it's not like a video. It's just,
Right.
but that's pretty convincing from 10 feet away. Like, I mean, the graphics are pretty good.
100%.
And again, that is that's from last year, so it's only getting better and better. It's at the point now where it's
Look at the
pretty
deep fakes
indistinguishable.
that come out. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
can't honestly trust anything just out the gate right now.
No,
Like,
it's
you really have to like find multiple sources just to even start like
right.
accepting it.
So, do you guys have like a password or a passphrase set up with your families, like a security password? The idea is you need a way to be sure over the phone that you're talking to your loved ones, your mom, your dad, your kids.
I didn't even think of that, but I do know, I have been hearing about, and I've heard examples of it on the radio. This thing that's been starting to happen, like an AI bot will call a loved one and be like, sounding exactly like
Yeah.
their loved one, and be like, "Yo, I'm locked up. I need money to get bailed
So
out or
it's
something."
it's not exact, but it's close. And it's the thing is, it doesn't need to be exact because it's always going to be a panic situation where like your mind goes to a certain place where it doesn't pay attention to details. It's in a fight or flight mode because
Right.
like you think that your family member is like in danger.
Right.
So and that's the point.
And it's over a phone.
Right. Well, in order to do that, all they need is a minimal voice sample. Like they could be standing behind you. There's a lot of ways you could do this, but like if you're just in line at, I don't know, Subway, and nobody goes to Subway anymore. If you're in line at McDonald's, yeah.
Jersey Mike's.
If you're just waiting for your Jersey Mike's.
No, you're getting the big kahuna.
Yeah,
I miss Herbert and Gerbert's.
I know,
That's
dude.
still around.
But no, like somebody could be behind you with their phone and you just hear you say one or two sentences while you're making your order. It's just recording it. They can just take that. Technically, in theory, they can just use that to train an AI, which could then mimic your voice pretty good.
I have a question after you're done.
Yeah, but well, that's really how they do it. So it's like it's like the equivalent would be taking like one or two pictures off of somebody's public Facebook profile page and then just using that to create a catfishing profile. They're doing that but with audio, and it's easier than you'd think, and you can probably do it for free, really. So
And everybody puts their business online nowadays.
Right.
They're taking videos of themselves,
I cut back on
TikToks,
that
whatever.
crap a long
I mean,
time
you don't
ago.
even have to see them in real life to get that.
yeah.
Question. Have you guys had an issue with this at all? I mean, this happens maybe could be like every other month, or I don't know.
I know where he's going.
I have
Well, I
noticed
get
that it's
a
harder for
phone
me
call.
to come
I
during
get a
sex.
phone call, right? It'll have an ID on it. It'll say who the person is that is calling me.
Oh, yeah.
If I pick that up, because it seems like a legit phone call. If I pick that up, silence. It gets me going. I go, hello. You know, and I know right away now what it is. I don't say anything any more than hello, but it's I'll call this person back. I'll even screenshot and be like, yo, you just called me. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? Is that a bot or something trying to get a sample of my voice? And if it is how long of a sample does that bot need that it just got from me? For them to be like, all right, got it. Now we can use that and put it into motion. And
I have a lot of theories.
Try to ruin this guy's life.
They're all very severe opinions. Let's start with the easiest.
Has that happened?
The easiest
to you
would
guys?
be yes, it has.
Where somebody calls you, but they're not actually calling
Every day, literally every day.
Is that what that is?
It could be one of, let's say, three things. The first is it could be just the most harmless one, with the least amount of assumptions, I guess, could be just an improperly configured auto dialer. It is around election season. I have noticed it happening more, and phone systems are hard to set up. So the simplest explanation is somebody just doesn't know how to use the phone system. They have a list of numbers that it's calling, and they use the names to make it more legitimate, so you're more likely to answer. And then they just fucked up how the recording is supposed to play. So that could be explanation one. Explanation two, it's a little bit more far out there. It's exactly what you said. The point is to just get your voice, whether it's one word, whether it's you breathing, maybe to just learn your mannerisms, and that can be done with one word.
And never say the word yes, yeah, or yep at the beginning of any call.
Yeah,
because they can use that as confirmation and start charging you stuff.
Right. I just start screaming into it.
Dropping knowledge.
Well, then the third one, and this is as far out as I go, but I'm the kind of guy that is willing to entertain anything, and I know enough about technology to be dangerous. The third theory is that it has something to do with what is it? I don't even know what it's called. I think it's like the Pegasus program or something like that. It's the one that they use for surveillance and shit, where the theory is that Pegasus 1, they sent you like a virus link and you had to click on it. It required an action on your part. Pegasus 2, all they need to do is have your phone number, and I want to think that there is some sort of malicious action that's possible just by the act of your phone ringing. You don't have to do anything. That enough is it could potentially be enough to allow we'll call it a bad actor, somebody that's not your friend, that's trying to get something out. This could be just a hacker. This could be a government agency. This could be we'll start with those two, but
could be a shice company just trying to bill you for something.
Yeah, exactly.
Just expound on this. Like I said, I worked for telecommunications for a while, and that's why I said never answer phone. They say, "Hey, is this?" and say yes or yeah, yep. Just be like, "Well, who'd you call?" Don't ever say those words, because they'll clip that and put that as you accepting the terms of their service and start billing into your phone.
Yeah.
But check this out. A lot of these scam companies, phishing things, what they do is they'll use robocalling, which is kind of what you're describing. They got a mass block of numbers, and these numbers go out and they just send out a ton of calls. Whoever picks up first, that's why there's a delay, and then they usually do have some kind of recording that plays, but it's super delayed because it's running so many different numbers at the same time. But back to where we started with this situation, my mom got a phone call yesterday, and the person goes, "Hey, it's your grandson." And she goes, "Well, that's funny, you sound a lot different." And he's like, "Nobody told you about the accident," blah blah blah. Starts going into all this stuff, and she goes scam somebody else and click. She was smart enough to figure it out, but she was like, "Wait, what?" She's a grandparent.
It takes you for a second,
and somebody was trying to call, pretend one, she's only got one true grandson on my side, but she's got step grandchildren and stuff too. "Hey, it's your grandson." Gets you emotional. Nobody told you about the accident. Like you said, the panic thing, people start freaking out, not thinking.
Once you trigger that emotional,
she was a correctional officer, so she's pretty quick on her, something's wrong here.
The reason those calls exist in the first place is because they work to some degree,
Especially
and when
on
they work,
elderly
they
people.
really work. I have a close family friend that lost. She's not super old, in her 60s. She got taken for 40 grand out of her savings, most of her savings, and it's just gone. And I forget what it wasn't the family thing, but yeah, it's like the reason scams exist is because they work.
I'm like stuck out of country. I need a passport. I have to pay all these fines for them to let me go.
Right.
It's always something weird and drastic.
Yeah, phones, iPhone, Android, all that shit. It's got great security features. Virus stuff is very advanced and shit, but it's like the weakest point of any technology is always going to be the person. It's easy to hack a person with social engineering than it is to hack like through encryption and blah blah blah. So yeah, just call
100%.
If you trigger that emotional response, if you get somebody, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Like it's that whole thing. And
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. It's a great quote.
He's spitting facts here right now because, in the movies they always make it act like they're just some super genius writing code and blah 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 and hacking into all these systems. But truth is, 90% of hacking is social engineering. I just cut out, but it's social engineering, and it's them tricking you into giving you information that they can't get by pretending to be a friendly, charismatic person, or just getting you think that you need to offer or provide this information, and then they can utilize that to just get access to the accounts. Nowadays, we are progressing a little bit further where there are some crazy coders that are jumping in there and just doing work. I mean, we saw the United Healthcare system get taken down. They had to pay $22 million in Bitcoin just to get their system back. Then they hit Ascension. Then they hit, I forgot what the other big medical organization was, but they just ransomware these people because they're like, the guys that design this stuff and upkeep the security on this are old. They built this thing 20 years ago and are still sticking on the same system. Yeah. We're young, know all the new tricks, and we can bypass this without any effort. Right. And by the time you figure out which account got the Bitcoin, it's been spread to 15,000 other ones, rerouted, and all back to where we wanted to go in the first place. Right. So you can't even track it down in the time before these people are gone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The reason that we see these scams time and time again is because they work. Yep. It's like most of us are smart enough to never be duped by them ourselves, but we're not. It can happen to cities. It can happen to giant companies, healthcare companies, and it's going to keep happening. Like that's one thing we can be sure of. But as far as the simulation thing, it's 100 years ago. We didn't even have Pong. We had Pong, 60 years ago? I don't know how long, 1970 or whatever.
Yeah, it was Atari 1.
Yeah. Well, in 50 years, we've gone from Pong to this. And let's switch over to the thing so it's visible. From Pong to this. What's the universe? 13, 14, 15 billion years old. In 50 years, if we can do this shit, it's like I don't know. But then it's like not a question of if it's a simulation to me. It's like why? What would the motivation for? You have to be able to explain it. But it's like we already have. Have you guys ever done the Oculus Rift?
Yep.
I got one, dude.
I love Beat Saber, man. Beat Saber is so fun.
Oh man, it's like if you can make something like, you can do this for free too. This doesn't cost like a video game studio or anything. Like you can download this shit and kind of get that going with a few tutorials. So it's like accessible. I just don't see any reason why if the observable universe is 15 billion years old or however, it had to have happened. If we're capable of this in 50 years, I don't know.
Did you see through the same Unreal Engine that we're talking about here, that game that they were making a prototype for? It's a first-person
shooter?
Yeah, and they're kicking down doors, and they're
It's so real.
I mean, yes, I thought it was literally just footage of a man walking through.
Well, because I mean, you can see like footage of the Ukraine war like shot through a GoPro, and it's like,
Right.
I feel like they were just using that as like a model, like okay, this is what it looks like. But shooter demo.
I forgot what. Yeah,
It was
crazy.
so fucking good.
It
Not
was.
that
It
one.
blew my mind. Yep, right there.
Yeah, this is fucking.
I forget I've
this.
seen this.
This is so good.
This is a video game?
Yeah, this is all computer generated.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Dude,
it looks
watch
like a cop body cam, like everything about it.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I gotta get a GoPro.
Come on. Wow. Technology.
Got him. And they blur it out because it's too graphic for like YouTube. It looks like it just person that died. Do you guys ever watch Black Mirror?
Oh, man,
God.
I am a fan of Black Mirror.
Yes.
Damn, that
I like the
was
Remember when
one.
we put that movie too that you could interact with?
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch, dude. Yeah,
Who
dude.
made
I
him
did
jump
all of
off?
them.
Who made him jump off? I did.
Dude,
time I was like,
I gauge friendships off of that show. So they'd be like, "Yo, I need a new show to watch." I'm like, "Yo, check out Black Mirror," and
Some
how
people
they
aren't into
respond
it,
to
like,
it is tells me where they are.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean? And I'm
right.
like,
That's the thermometer. That's like
yes,
how you
exactly.
how you
Yeah,
talk.
I'll gauge my
Totally.
friends on their response to Black Mirror.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
if you're like totally into it, I'm like, come
Every
on, man.
one of them stories, man, is such a like.
The first
they're
episode
so
alone.
like
The one with the bees?
futuristically-
Did you see the one
I
with like
mean,
that swarm of bees? That's a
What kind of
amazing.
drugs you gotta be on to think of this shit?
The recall though with that granny or whatever, that first
yeah, yep.
episode. Dude,
Ooh,
I would get one. I'd go crazy.
the one with that guy.
no way.
Yes, the
the guy-
shitty interview.
The guy, like,
I need to forget.
dude, that one, that dude is like, actually, in the end, working for the government because he's being punished. But he's like,
The army guy? With
no,
the buck?
like he's like putting this people's conscience in jail.
Oh yeah, John Hamm.
That one,
Yep.
The
dude.
Black Museum one?
Yeah.
Where that he's like in charge of this chick at first,
Oh,
and she gets
yeah.
put in this little space, and
she-
he's like, "You're
the
gonna do
digital
this.
assistant.
You're gonna do it." And she was like, "Fuck that! I ain't doing it." And he's like,
like,
"All right."
okay.
And he just sets a timer, and it goes by like a year or two, and she's in this little purgatory state.
it's
she
2
can't do
minutes for
nothing.
him.
She's just sitting there, and she just it shows her like from the beginning when she's talking shit, and he just twists the dial, and it's been like 5 seconds for him, but like 2-3 years for her.
She
just
can't
sitting there in
starve,
complete
she
silence.
can't
I
die.
totally
And she
forgot
just-
about that
And she
episode.
looks like a fucking mess, and she's like, "Fine, whatever you need."
I
But
honestly,
that whole like story to the end,
Yeah.
and then the guy ends up like, they're like, "Okay, you're free to go. You save your time by helping us out." But now he's like, he can go back out in society, but everybody else is like white noise, and like he can't hear me, can't interact
because he's
with them.
blocked. Yeah, they block him, dude.
I
yeah.
totally forgot about that episode. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about a different one.
Dude, yeah.
Holy-
Yep. They're so good. We could probably have an episode about every episode.
Oh, fuck, man.
You got a
Mind-bending
Black Mirror
shit.
watch party.
Yes. The one that comes to mind is the it's they're like a couples retreat and they're dating each other, and then it ends up being a simulation, and it's all running on a phone. Like some guy's at a party and he takes he like holds his phone up, it shows him a picture of a girl, and his phone runs a simulation and it does a compatibility check. Like, you have 100% compatibility match, and he's like, all right, and that's it. Like the whole episode, it was just in the simulation. I think that would be a valid sort of thing to at least jump off, like that's a jumping off point for, because if this is a simulation, like, why would somebody do this? Like, it's just kind of like, okay, well, why do people play The Sims? Why do people fucking do any of that shit?
Oh man, dude, like, I've been on that simulation like kick for a minute. At first I was like, and then more and more I started learning, and then like something I saw about a month ago like really connected the dots for me, and I was like, whoa, shit, when it kind of intertwined the double slit experiment. When they like explain how that correlates into the simulation theory. I was
everything
like,
has a
fuck.
concept.
It's like everything's fucking fake. Fuck, right. Fucking A, dude.
Well, I go out so far until Monday hits or Tuesday, and I'm like, I gotta go back to fucking work, even though this is all fucking bullshit.
This is bullshit, dude. Fucking A, man.
You gotta earn your tokens so you can keep living the good life.
I wonder what generation of simulation we are. If we are the first, and then we're building these Sims and all the rest, or if we're like just another one down the line chain.
Because that's just like what we naturally came to, right? We have these computers. It's easier than you would think. Even if you're not a computer programmer or a game designer, you're just really a couple Google searches away from being able to do your own game. Like, really, that's how easy it is now. And that's what we do. And like, obviously there are game studios that make really cool shit, but like, that's what we're doing now. We're building worlds and shit, and like, they're in computers right now. But in 10 years, it's gonna be an Oculus, dude. You know, like,
are we on our way to Idiocracy? That movie?
We're there.
We were there 10 years ago.
Man, we're like,
They're so fucking
check this
stupid and
out,
lazy in that movie. It's like
it was every year it gets even more true. It's like 10 years ago it was like funny, like, haha, we're doomed.
Until you see those clips where they're talking to like college kids out there and they're asking them simple questions. You're like, yo, but think about this. So like, you know, what we're talking about and what we're experiencing now that's like really making us question the system. So like the other day I was bored, just flipping through the feeds, and I'm like, oh, Tron Legacy, man, I haven't seen that since I saw it in the theater, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, I want to give that a watch again. And then I was like, man, I remember watching the first Tron.
The original, dude.
And that was like,
that's like
this original, one of the original simulation movies.
Right.
And it's like, it conceptualized everything that we're talking about,
right.
But we were impervious to be able to even conceive that type of a thing being real.
Right.
And now we're discussing it as like, well, maybe it is.
Right.
Did you ever see the 13th floor?
Oh, wait.
It was like the Matrix before the Matrix. It's like,
oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Complete simulated, almost like back to the noir type thing. It came out around late 90s, like right before the Matrix or whatever. But I'd had to look at my phone to find out exactly the year. It's hard to find it anywhere.
Is it an American film?
Yeah. It's actually really good, but it was never like a blockbuster. But that movie's a trip because it was like basically the Matrix before the Matrix. You know what I mean? Or if you've ever seen what's that? Dark City.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Man. Dude,
yes.
I'm telling you, like, they were on to some stuff.
No, yeah, you mentioned the double slit experiment. Yes.
Oh, I got, dude, like the next episode
so if you're
another show, I got
see.
a whole.
I love it, dude.
Dude, I am ready for that one.
Yeah.
That was the catalyst that made me.
We got the double slit experiment. I got Mandela effects lined up. We got UFOs, baby. It's gonna get crazy. I'm telling you, man. I'm ready to roll.
Dude, I'm telling you, the double slit experiment was what was able for my mind to conceptualize and like have that epiphany moment where like I actually then started looking into like quantum theory and and I'm not saying I fully understand it. It's very complex, but it blew my mind open to all these other possibilities and actually having like a hunger for the knowledge of trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
For me, it
And
was
it was lecture after lecture. After
dude.
lecture.
For me, it was like the double slit experiment. Before that, right before that was D-wave computers combined with quantum. Quantum or whatever the hell. It's something
D-wave.
But anyway, I heard a talk, a TED talk, or I think it was something like that, like Geordie Rhodes. It's a pretty popular one. I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's like a genius with like D-wave computers and quantum mechanics.
What does the D-wave stand for? Is that just like a quantum computer or something, or?
It's basically mixing
think it's beyond that.
AI with quantum computers.
Okay.
So it's like super, like unreal, like the equivalent of a million human brains thinking at once compared to like a regular computer.
Nice.
On a
So I gotta get
quantum level. And he's talking about opening portals and then like bringing, like seeing into different dimensions and also bringing back things from these other dimensions.
No, we should be doing that.
They're doing that. They did that. Yeah, they're opening these portals. They're looking into different dimensions, and they're also bringing physical things from the dimensions.
That seems like
Yo,
the
did you ever
mistake.
see that picture though from inside the tube of CERN, where they took like a still shot where they were shooting the light photons at each other, and it just looked like almost like agonized souls like collected in the.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was like they were trying to open a gateway to hell or something. It was a crazy photo. I haven't seen it in years, but I'm sure you could find it. But I mean, they openly admit that they're trying to open portals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and the other crazy thing that I found back in the day, researching CERN, was actually going into like the deep Reddit forums and stuff, and hearing like accounts from, well, quote unquote, people that used to work there or intern there, and talking about how high the suicide rate was for some of the employees and things
It's
like
CERN?
that. Yeah.
Oh.
And of course, you know, they got the big Shiva statue out in front of it. Yeah, dude.
Oh man.
Which is what, the goddess of the underworld or whatever?
Shiva's the god of destruction, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. The goddess of
I just asked this guy from India. I just asked this guy from India 2 days ago about Shiva. He said Shiva is the good, the bad. It's like the god of all gods. He said there's like
got like 10
60 or 300 other gods that they
there's a
worship,
lot.
but Shiva is the alpha and omega of the up and down, the left or right, the dark, the light.
They have a lot. It's my understanding that, and again, I could be completely off here, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like the you know how tarot has a death card, and you're like, oh shit, the death card, and then they're like, no, it's fine. It's like you need death because death is part of life. So Shiva brings that element, and it's
it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not good.
I'll be honest,
actually
personally,
a dude, I think.
I don't mess with the tarot cards or the Ouija board.
Fuck the Ouija board, man.
My understanding of like the death card could also mean like the ending of a relationship or a phase of your life.
Well, I got news for you guys. We're gonna do a Ouija board.
Fuck it. All right, I'm in. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, okay.
Yes.
No way.
Surprise!
My phone
He flips
died.
the table upside down. Hey.
Let's see. We have so many ideas for. So we're gonna have a Black Mirror month. That'll be a good one. Did you like the newer seasons? I like the first
Black Mirror
3.
month.
They're getting worse, kind of. Like they're still good, but the first 3 were solid.
Right.
That fucking one, 15 million merits. I like that.
My favorite episode is the one where that dude goes traveling around the world and he ends up in
video
England
game.
and does the video game thing.
That's fuck, dude. The spider thing, and
Yes.
and then yeah, he just writes the note down at the end, like cried for his mother or something like that.
Right.
It all like came together. That one gave me fucking goosebumps, dude, for sure.
That one blew my mind, just like the grain one, dude. Like I was.
Oh yeah, the grain was crazy. The other one that I always come back to is, well, there's a lot that I come back to. I like there's that one that's a trip. They're army soldiers, and they've got that thing, and they think they're killing bugs, but it's just people, and they think they're like these horrible like alien monsters, and it's just fucking people, but they have no idea, and then they turn it off. Oh, that's a trip.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because it's just like it's like a conversation. Well, it starts a conversation about like what war is. Just a few old men that know each other making millions of young men that don't know each other kill each other or something like that. It's
so that their stocks rise.
Yeah, so exactly. It's just fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
How about that episode with everybody's like recording these people, and it's just a game show, but it's actually like a punishment, and then you get shoved through it again after you erase the memory. Right. In a game show at the end, like, what the fuck? Dude, it turns out you were an actual rapist and a killer and a murderer, and we're just torturing you through this.
Because you feel bad.
Everybody just keeps like recording them.
Yeah,
everywhere they go.
So they're wearing the masks.
They're on a game show. They're on a game show, dude.
And then it just right back to the beginning again and again and again forever. It's fucking crazy, dude. But you know, like you wonder, like what kind of drugs is the guy on that created that thing?
Oh yeah.
The answer is, I mean, I think if you just have an eye for it and you look around, like he's just like making shows about like the things that we see every day, and we've just become so used to him. Like everybody's got a phone out, like, you know, recording everything. We don't have it really around here, but there's in bigger cities, and especially in Korea, Asia, they'll be walking around with their you know, doing their live stream. You see that a lot, so it's just like a reflection.
I gotta ask you guys, do you guys do this? Because I do this. I'll have like these crazy tripped out dreams of like dystopian future and weird stuff like that, and as soon as I wake up, I'll pull up a notepad on my phone and I'll write that stuff down so I don't forget it.
I tell myself I'm gonna do that, but I never do.
I don't either. I don't remember my dreams well at all.
Dreams.
Do you have any? That's gonna be an episode.
Got that in the notes.
Yeah, man. I'll bust it out.
Yeah, let's
I have a few too that I was able to remember up here that were pretty tripped out. But anyway, there's a weird Reddit article about
somebody said, like, have you seen this man? And like they posted a picture of a guy, and it's just like a drawing, and a bunch of people started being like, dude, I've seen that guy in my dreams, and it's just like a thing where, yeah, it's like a recurring dream guy. I've never seen him. Yeah, this fucking guy. They said like there's a lot of people.
Yeah, dude, I've seen that. That's a trip. Like, everybody has a dream with the same asshole in it with a crazy unibrow.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I got some.
There was like posters all over the city. Have anybody seen this guy?
That's crazy.
We're just trying to find people who see this dude in their dream.
Personally, the sketch of it looked familiar to me, but I think I probably seen it like through social media or something, or whatever. But I watched a whole like YouTube video on a guy who was like breaking it down or whatever. And looking into like the whole history of it. He kind of did like his own little investigative journalism thing on it. But I'll be honest, man, it's weird that many people.
It's a lot of people. It's like once you get to that many people, it's hard. I mean,
just like the Mandela effect, you can't dismiss that at all. That's half the population.
Fruit Loops. Yeah. How's it spelled, really?
Oh, that's a whole other episode. Absolutely. Nope. I got it in the notes.
I just looked in and I got like some pretty solid dreams documented. So yeah, one episode we'll have to.
Well, shit.
I got that written
Chambers
down too.
Diary.
We got a dreams episode. I got a couple of. We got a Black Mirror month. We got recent events. We're gonna try and at least
would
do a
love-
recent event or two.
There's a laptop over there.
All you
actually.
need to do
So yeah.
is put on the scene with Morpheus where he's holding the red and blue pill and just pause it right there in the background.
Yeah, dude, that's good. That's good. Yes.
We're wrapping it up for this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
But you got somewhere to be or something?